Good afternoon. It's once again Friday, 5:30 in the p.m., and this is your host, Congressman Danny Davis, for the next 25 minutes of the hottest hotline in the United States of America. Well, I am doing fine, and I hope that you are too. Guess what? The Willis Tower is still standing. Lake Michigan has not turned red. The city of Chicago is still in place. And so the world has not come to an end. Although I know that many of us are kind of disappointed with the outcome of Tuesday's election. But let me first of all just thank the 232,000 residents of the 7th Congressional District who voted for me and voted that I return to the U.S. House of Representatives to represent you. I appreciate greatly your faith and confidence in my ability to convey your hopes, thoughts, aspirations, and your very valuable sentiments to the House of Representatives as I try and take your place there. It really means that I am not there as myself or just as an individual, but I am there because you have said that it was all right for me to try and represent you, and I thank you. Now, with that said, you can always give us a call and let us know what's on your mind. I got a feeling that there is a great deal on your mind. But as I've been saying to people ever since Tuesday, I don't believe that we have come this far to be left alone or to go back. I am afraid and I am concerned that the struggle must go on because we've never reached the point where we have experienced all that the good Lord intended that we be able to experience in this country. And I know that we are a country with many wonderful attributes, but we've also got a lot of faults, and we've got a lot of things that still need changing. We have things that need protecting, and we have things to explore that we have never explored before. Since Tuesday, I've been very busy. I had a great meeting the other day with the Juvenile Diabetes Association. There are many children who are diabetic from the time that they are born and have all of the things that cause them to be. So I've had some wonderful meetings with different groups and individuals since Tuesday, but I'm delighted that we have a caller ready to engage us, and we'll go right to the telephone. Caller, are you there? Yes, caller, are you there? Well, maybe that caller decided that they would wait a little while. But we go back to Washington next week, and we will go back with a high level of uncertainty. I don't know what the agendas are going to be that will be on the table. I think our caller is back, so caller, are you there? Hello? Yes, caller, go right ahead.
Congressman.
Yes, indeed.
Congressman,
Yes.
you have all these people in the streets protesting. It's too late for that now. If half of them protesting and burning stuff down would have went out and voted, it probably would have been a different outcome. But no, they don't want to go vote. They want to go and protest. Well, you always serve people well. That's why you keep going back, or that's why they keep voting you back. If they had voted for, if all of them had voted for who they wanted to vote for, these protesters, they wouldn't be protesting right now. Hillary would have won it. I'm positive of that. But it's too late to protest. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
All right, let me see what the other caller got to say before I respond to that. Yes, caller, are you there?
Yeah, how you doing, Congressman?
James, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
How are you?
Since all the other cities had voted for Donald Trump, right?
Well, not all of them.
Since they had voted for Trump, now they complaining. They hollering and they're crying like wolves. Now, what they should have did, they should not have voted for him. Now he gonna send everybody back to their own country. And then I ain't got nothing to say no more, Country David. You're doing a good job, Country David.
All right, well, thank you. And I think we still got another caller. Caller, are you there?
Good evening, Dr. Davis, U.S. Representative 7th District. I have been calming people down and talking about the facts. Now, Donald Trump's going to have to shut up, and he got to get rid of the governor. Now, if he's talking about kicking a lot of people out of the country, let's deal with the facts now, all right? Is he talking about hiring a new agency and going to have the deporting centers and all that? That's not even logical. It's not even feasible if you're talking about you're going to be spending more money for that. And like he been saying a lot of different things, but I want to say one thing. This is the facts. The facts is this: racism will always trump everything else, because you have those white women that came out and voted for Trump for the reason why, because certain things they heard men talking about them like dogs and stuff, and they wouldn't accept certain things. And then you got some people that live way in the bushes somewhere. They not crazy about it. I say it's wrong. They not crazy about this gay agenda and stuff. Now they see that we had a black president, all right? They're afraid that if we have a woman president, that we may have a gay president down the line. It's all about these fears with us. And we got these scared white guys somewhere thinking that, okay, a robot took my job. Those days of taking a box off, putting it here and putting it on the truck, those are over with. They don't understand. You got to get caught up. You know, you got to change with it. You got to upgrade your skills. Somehow they want to go back to the 50s or 60s. It ain't going to happen.
I think you are certainly right in terms of that. It is not going to happen. And
take care. I'll call back later.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, let's take our next caller. I think we got another caller waiting. Caller, are you there?
Oh, yes, thank you for taking my call, Congressman. And I wanted to say that I too believe that we, as a society, and those of us that do this for a living, I've been involved in the electoral process for over 2 decades, helping to get people elected, helping to get laws passed. We somehow missed this whole group of silent people out there that either, one, didn't respond to pollsters, or two, quite frankly, didn't tell the truth when they were polled. There's this whole entire social desirability question around Donald Trump. Are you willing to admit to someone that you like Donald Trump, or we're going to vote for him? And I think going down the road, we're going to find that a lot of people either didn't bother talking to pollsters, or two, when they talked to them, they wouldn't admit that they were going to support the man. And it was one thing, for instance, for unions in places like Michigan and Ohio, Pennsylvania, their leadership to support Hillary Clinton. The problem was that that leadership didn't vote.
Their membership didn't follow the leadership, huh?
Yeah, well, exactly, because simply because the leadership decides to endorse Hillary Clinton or another candidate doesn't mean that you are obligated when you walk into that voting booth as a steel worker, as an auto manufacturer, someone working in a coal mine. You weren't obligated to do that. And it turns out that many of those people voted for Donald Trump. And I will say that this does give the Republicans an opportunity to fall on their face, which I think that I don't want to gloat in that. But given that they have control of the House, control of the Senate, and will have control of the White House, we can finally get an idea as to what alternative ideas this party has. Because up until now, it's just been the party of no.
Well, let me ask you,
Oh,
do you believe that a different candidate than Hillary Clinton may have fared differently in the outcome of this election?
well, I mean that depends on whether or not you believe that this was an election that was fundamentally about the people not trusting the system. There's a lot of people who believe that Donald Trump was not an ideal candidate, and many people would rather have voted for someone else who ended up voting for him. But they voted for him because he had a message that resonated, one that said that I'm an outsider. So the question is, who were Democrats going to run? I mean, Bernie Sanders was an appealing candidate from my perspective relative to policy, but I don't know if you would agree or not. I don't know that this nation was ready to elect a Democratic socialist. If he had gotten the nomination, I mean, people would have been talking about, that we're talking about repealing something as innocuous as Obamacare. Bernie Sanders is for single-payer national health care coverage. I am as well. But I don't think, given how hard it's been to pass the Affordable Care Act, do we really believe that people are ready for Bernie Sanders-style democratic socialism? I don't think so. So it's easy to like someone who's not going to get the nomination and not going to get elected. So Bernie Sanders could take those positions. But if he had been the nominee, I suggest that the press would have attacked him to no end. He would have been jumped on by right-wing media. Every day at Fox would have been a giant party that would contend that somehow, that he was going to turn us into North Korea or a Maoist China somehow. And again, that's nonsense. But still, I don't know that perhaps Joe Biden, I would offer, if Joe Biden had a chance going back a year from now, if he to have gotten into the race, I think he probably would have run. And he may have been the guy to get elected because people who didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton, given her baggage, I don't agree that she's guilty of anything, but there's the perception there. And he is a man. There are some people, again, don't want to admit it. They did not turn out to vote for her because she's a woman. And that includes some of the base of the Democratic Party. It turns out that, Mr. Trump did better with many groups that are part of the base of the Democratic Party than we expected him to do. And the question one has to ask is, are there people out there who would vote for a man for this high office, given they're Democrats, but would not consider giving their vote to a woman? We would be idiotic to think that the Democratic Party is free of sexism today. It certainly isn't. So I think, given how closely the polls had these two competing against one another, all it takes is a little bit of sexism to reject Hillary Clinton. And lastly, we can't begin to talk about losing this election without talking about the malfeasance on the part of FBI Director Comey in having released that and having put out that press release that gave the impression that there was some new investigation or something new going on 9 days before the election. Some of these races were so tight that if 1% of people's minds were changed in order to believe, because they don't pay attention to things like those of us who get paid to do this do, if 1% of those people's minds have been changed, you could have flipped states like Wisconsin and certainly Pennsylvania and any number of other states, perhaps Florida, and there the election goes to Hillary Clinton. So we can't begin to talk about her losing this election without, again, talking about how badly that was, how badly a decision that turned out to be on the part of James Comey.
All right, interesting observations. Let's go to another caller and see what this person has to say. Caller, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Congressman?
I'm good.
I have a question. I understand why the Illinois is a blue-leaning state because of concentration of minorities in Chicago. But I don't understand why states like Pennsylvania. They have Philadelphia, Pittsburgh with a large concentration of minorities, especially in those two cities. Ohio with Cleveland, Cincinnati, Youngstown, Michigan with Flint, Detroit. But yet they voted for Trump. Why are those states? Can you explain to me why those states voted for Trump? They're red states, but yet we have a large population concentration of minorities in those states, as opposed to why Illinois is so different as opposed to those three states.
Well, let me suggest this. If you notice, the thinking of people in big urban areas have a tendency to be different than that of people in more rural, sparsely settled areas. In Illinois, Cook County is almost half the population. And then you've got the Metro East area, which is another very urban area that is influenced by urban media. And I think all of that becomes one of the reasons. But I also think that Illinois has a long history. If you would recall, Abraham Lincoln was from Illinois. And so when the abolition of slavery came, it came out of an Illinois president. So I think that accounts for some of the difference. But of course, there are other differences as well. I am fascinated by the outcome, I have to admit. And of all the what people call insults that were hurled at different groups, many of the groups didn't respond to that, which means that they were more concerned about what they considered to be policy positions than they were about the attacks on their gender, the attacks on their race, the attacks on their physical abilities. And it's amazing. So I think we'll be getting analysis for a long time, trying to figure that one out. We got another caller on the line, so caller, go right ahead.
Dr. Davis, I want to say this. I want to tell people to calm down. There are so much dirt on Donald Trump. Who knows? You can't be president if you're in jail. Am I right so far about that?
Well, you're right about
First of all, we do have checks and balances. Now, he get in office. Now, if I'm lying about something, you stop me dead in my track. If he get in office and start doing some crazy things, he does have a cabinet. And we was faced with a similar situation when they thought when Ronald Reagan had some mental problems and his cabinet was looking at him and they thought they all going to have to sign a letter saying that he could not carry out the responsibility of being president. Who knows? His cabinet may get together and dictate a letter saying because of this Constitution, this and this and that, he cannot be the president. If I'm lying about anything, stop me.
Well, it's possible. It's possible, but I think
like I'm trying to calm
improbable.
There are safeguards. There are safeguards. And our founding fathers, they was very, very smart. So let him do some of that crazy stuff now. And like now he got to quit flapping his gums, and he got to govern now. And he may change because he can't be running off at the mouth because something he may say could cause World War III. And now since he getting all these security briefings and stuff, he going to be saying, hey, I didn't know that. I didn't know the president was dealing with these type of issues. This is the reason why he made this type of decision. Now, like I said, people sit back and calm down. Because like I said, there are checks and balances. And let that fool do something that don't make any sense. That's the reason why the Senate got to vote on who be in his cabinet. Because they're not necessarily beholden to him. They are beholden to the people. If I have lied about anything, stop me dead.
All right. Well, I think you've laid out a case, but let's go and see what we got another caller who wants to chime in. Okay. Caller, are you there? Yes. Go right ahead. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Please go right ahead.
So, what do you think your legacy will be after you become, after your congressman days are over?
I hope that my legacy will be that I help generate a feeling among the people that their involvement and participation makes a difference. You know, there were 232,000 people in my congressional district who voted for me in this last election. I am so proud of the voters in my district, a district that has a large number of low-income people, a large number of people who are not necessarily highfalutin, don't have college degrees, but they voted. And I am so proud of the voters of my district that I don't know what to do. And so I hope that that would be my legacy, that I stimulated, activated, and motivated people to participate. All right, is there another call? Because we'll try to get it in. Caller, are you there? Well, maybe they've hung up, but let me tell you, we've had a number of just great callers who've called in with their analysis of what took place. I'm not totally sure, other than we know that Mr. Trump won, and Mr. Trump is going to be the president. But I also think that Mr. Trump's victory is going to generate activity on the part of other what we might call conservative elements of society, whose positions are going to be very different than the positions that many of us in inner city areas, many of us in Chicago, many of us in metropolitan areas will take. So we've got to be prepared for a big fight. Now, I don't mean a physical fight. I don't mean an acrimonious fight. But I mean a fight of wits in terms of trying to keep convincing the American public that some of the things that we push and fight for are relevant. For example, I am opposed to a tax increase on middle America. I am more in favor of increasing the taxes of the top 1% than I am increasing the tax of people at lower levels. I'm more in favor of increasing rather than decreasing corporate tax rates and decreasing the tax rates of individuals at the bottom. I'm in favor of increasing opportunity to participate in the earned income tax credits. See, we face a deficit, which is true. And I don't think there are but two ways of getting out of a deficit. You either have to generate more money, or you have to cut some of the things that you're using money for. I am not going to be in favor of cutting things like the low-income energy assistance program, LIHEAP, where people who don't have any heat in the wintertime can get some help. I'm not going to be in favor of cutting food stamps because there are more and more individuals who are in need of nutritiousness meals. So I'm not opposed to necessarily anybody being whatever they are. But I think that we have to keep pushing for those things we believe in. We have to keep fighting for those things that we know are needed if we are to improve the quality of life. I'm going to try and protect the Affordable Care Act. And I know that it's going to be on the chopping block probably the first week we're back. So, to continue, the struggle must continue, and we will conquer without a doubt. We'll see you next week.